Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin then. So the panic is in the streets. Everybody's afraid, everybody's scared. But not me. Last night, I didn't think it would happen so quick, but it did. Last night my order was filled, 39,000. I wanted to front run the 38,000 area to make sure that my order was filled. And the reason for that is that historically, now that we're breaking down below these moving averages, especially on the daily, we've broken down below the 200 exponential, which is this white line here where we found the two levels of support. And again, a few days back I said, look, if we come down to that level, probably just an intermediate zone that we will bounce from, but likely to break down further. So we've broken down quite quick. We've hit that level of 39,000, which is where my order was filled. Now I do think that this area does have the opportunity to have a decent bounce from here. It might not be the bounce that reverses the entire chart, but a decent bounce all the same. And it could bring us close to 50,000 overall, and I have to stress the word could. I mean, we are breaking down quite fast at this level now, and from top to bottom, let's give it a little measure. From top to bottom, that's a 40% retracement. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's the deepest retracement that we've had since this latter part of the bull market, which was usually between about 35, about 28, and about, well, so far. Well, this was only about 18. This little one here, but so yeah, it's a bigger correction. And I welcome that. Like I say, we do welcome these corrections. Gives us the opportunity to buy lower, and it also gives the chart a chance to get rid of that horrible, nasty, bearish divergence that has been in play for quite a while now. So at least what this is doing is resetting this, getting rid of this completely, because this has always been a major threat for us. Which is, but on the way up we've had bearish divergence, tick, 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 tick. It has been like a ticking bomb. And on the weekly we've also had the same thing, tick, tick, tick. Now finally we're getting that to play out, which again is a bit painful in the short term, especially if you're holding a lot of coins. But it's actually, it had to happen, and this is that reset that it kind of needed. So, like I say, I do expect a decent bounce from here, maybe up to close to maybe 49,000, perhaps up to 50,000, perhaps. But overall, the direction is still down, and within time, I would imagine this area breaks down, and we tag the 50 exponential maybe, and at the lowest, it'll be about 29,000. Now, when things like this start to happen, it can go uncomfortably low, and I suppose that's the nature of it. That's the point of it. It'll go uncomfortably low, and people will inevitably get scared and not want anything to do with it. And then it will reaccumulate, and before you know it, it'll be back up again. But at the moment, I'm not going to say that there's any kind of reversal of this trend. The trend is clearly speeding up pace to the point where it's come down to a significant level, which I had on the cards, but I didn't think it'd happen so fast, but it's happened all the same. Now, if we have a quick look across the board, I mean, also if we think about certain other coins that we like to trade on this, we've got EOS. EOS has come down to its specific level of support, the one that we had of interest. And again, all we're doing with TA is narrowing the odds down to what we think is most appropriate. So this has now hit an area of significance for me. As we see, we bump up, rejection, break down, break this the resistance, straight up, back down to where the resistance was, now flip to support, break up, all the way up, break down, turns the previous resistance into support. This is in keeping with this chart, and I'm very happy to play this one as it is. Things can change, obviously, but for the moment we use the odds that are in our favour, and the odds are in our favour. I even set up an infinity grid bot to capitalise on what this could end up continuing to be, which is big moves up, big moves down, big moves up, big moves down. So I've got a bot trading on Bitcoin to EOS now. It might break down further, no big deal. If it does, it does. Right, so we're back to Bitcoin. A bit of context for you. This is Bitcoin on Bitstamp. Okay, so if we go back in time, people might think this is the end. We're below the 20 weekly. It's over. Oh my god. But really, it's not that bad. In the past, we have had significant rallies in bull markets that have broken down below the 20 weekly. This one back here, 2013 to 14, we had a massive big rally. Breakdown below the 20 weekly. Kind of tagged roughly the 50 exponential on the weekly. Where we found our bottom and our base, and then gradually snaked our way back above in a bullish reaccumulation to finally end with a parabolic top. Now, you know, everything's different. We have to view everything with independent eyes, but there is certain sort of comfort in knowing that this sort of behaviour can definitely happen in a bull market. And again, you know, we've been in a bull market since 2019. Big rally up, breakdown below the 20 weekly. Oh my god. 50 exponential had it for a little bit and even broke down a little bit before there. COVID took it deeper than it should have ever gone, which is why that was such a significant buying opportunity that eventually led to such a parabolic run. And now that's kind of over. But history will say that bull runs can and should cool off to a large extent. So if we think about this as an area of significance, then we're talking about 33,500. That's you know, a very decent area for a significant bounce. That again is marked off on this one here. It's the same exponential basically. That, if we break down from here, you know, it has a very strong chance of holding, and if that does break down, or if we get a demon wick that takes us lower, then this would very likely be the bottom area, which is where we had all these wicks before we pushed back up. So again, yeah, and a rejection zone. So there is plenty of opportunity beneath us before we can call this the absolute end. I really don't think it is. I think this is just a deep dive into the depths of support levels, because the bearish divergence that's been on the weekly, the 3 daily and the daily is now playing out to full extent, and that's perfectly fine. And this is actually it's a good thing. It's a good thing, because we're only in mid-May now. There's plenty of upside for the rest of this year possible. And as we were talking about on the live stream, you know, if you've been around for long enough, we've seen how fast these things can turn around. Bitcoin can turn around extremely fast. I remember in 2019, after this first run, we consolidated for a prolonged period of time, and then we double bottomed. And I said, look, we've hit here. I think that the next time we come down to this zone, we will probably bounce from it, and it actually bounced extremely fast. I mean, really quite fast. And if we think about how fast this wick was, doesn't look much, but it was actually a 15-16% move in a single day, marking more or less the end of the downtrend. Things can move fast, and then shortly after that we came down to revisit, and then from this candle forward we had a nice rally of about 52%. Now that might not seem like much to you guys, but that is a big deal. 52% from the bottom, that could bring us up to a nice area if we bottomed out here, for instance. I'm not saying that this is the bottom. I think there is probably further downside, but a 52% move, or a 50% move we'll say, will bring us back into the upper 50s. And again, we probably would have gone higher if it wasn't for COVID and that March crash that took place. We probably would have continued to go higher, but we didn't. You know, a black swan event occurred, but generally that was the bottom, which is why I kind of don't really count this, because this is something that was not really this was not brought about by any form of chart. This was a panic selling event, just like the rest of the world suffered in pretty much every aspect of in absolutely every single chart had the same kind of massive oversold dip. So, opportunity knocks. This is my first buy order since here, where we failed from. So, we were breaking down. My first buy order was here. This is my first one since we've gone super bearish, and my next one will be around here. And if that breaks down, it will be here. And if that happens after then, I will have to just wait it out, to be honest with you, and see where we reaccumulate. But for the moment, we take it step at a time, and this is just one step before finding our reaccumulation area. I'm not mega bearish on this one. This is fine, and like I said on yesterday's video, a downtrend is almost needed really to reset these oscillators, especially that RSI. If we can get rid and shake out this this horrible bearish divergence which has been in play for a long period of time, we can shake that off and begin all over again, reset that whole system. Then we can play a bull market all over again with a bit more confidence. But I suppose this has been on the cards for a while. I suppose and we've always been expecting something like this to happen, but it's not the end. It's definitely not the end as far as I can see. This is it's only a 40% retracement. If we go back in time just before the last actual bull run over here, let's just go back in time. This is just before 2017 reached its peak. And again, you know, people talk about 2017. I want to see 2017 gains again. I want to see something like that. Okay, you can see 2017 gains if you like, but be prepared for big moves. Just before that big move, we did actually have a 42% retracement from here to here. So if you want to see the big moves, be prepared for both sides of the equation. Look, 40%, 50%, 65% retracements from the top before we reset and go for another launch. It's perfectly fine. It's all very much in keeping with the nature of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. This is why we like it. This is what we want to do. Again, yeah, we can't expect something to go up forever. A downtrend is, or even just a reset, if you want to call it that, is actually very, very healthy. It's all in keeping with the way that this thing should play out to give us bigger, more substantial and tangible new all-time highs, which again is not likely to be around the corner. There's a very good chance that this whole downtrend could continue down for a period of months, even be boring and reaccumulate down at some lower levels for a long period of time. That would probably lend itself to altcoins continuing to rally. But if you have a look at the Bitcoin dominance, it has had a little uptick today, which is also fine because we were looking at a lot of these altcoins yesterday, and even though they are in uptrends versus Bitcoin on their Satoshi pairings, yeah, some of those most promising ones were at resistance. So it was inevitable that if a Satoshi pairing is going to be at a resistance and we get a pullback across the board, then those should lose more value than Bitcoin in the short term. Then we pick those guys up at the supports that we were pinpointing yesterday. The live stream was a bit hard yesterday. A few internet issues and childcare issues, I suppose. But we still, I suppose, established the fact that there are a lot of uptrends in play against Satoshi pairings, and we also noted that a lot of those are already at resistance, but they are still uptrends in their own right. So don't get confused when you look at some of these coins and you see the Bitcoin dominance chart moving up a little bit. That I suppose should have been an obvious scenario in the next market dump, as those coins are at resistance. Now they're probably coming down to a decent level of buyback opportunity. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the market today, I really do, and I've taken that opportunity with a few altcoins and definitely with Bitcoin. I've even set some trading bots up as well. So that is all there really is to say about it. It's good. It's, you know, it might not feel like a good thing, but it is. It is a good thing that we've come down to such tangible levels of support across the board with altcoins and Bitcoin. I'm very happy to see what's happened this morning. In fact, I was actually pretty excited. Buying opportunity big time, if not just for a long-term hold, even just for a decent significant bounce is what I'm expecting. Now if we just go quickly back to Bitcoin, the way we can monitor this is actually on the 15-minute chart, which again isn't something that I would normally look at, but when we're breaking down in such significance, we can see that this 200 exponential appears to be our main nemesis. And if we're looking for a more sizable bounce, what we need to do is break above this 200 exponential on the 15-minute chart. This is going to be the beginning of a potential more significant uptrend, but at the moment we're clearly downtrending still quite significantly, quite fast. But if and when we do reclaim that 200 exponential on the 15-minute chart, will lend itself probably to a larger bounce. But for the moment, that's coming in thick and fast. This is a 15-minute chart, so maybe even just a few $1,000s before we get rejected from it next. But between these zones, 43 and 38, we'll have a little reaccumulation on a 15-minute chart, and if we start to reclaim this, then the uptrend, at least for a more significant bounce, should be in play. And that, my friends, is pretty much the deal that we're looking at. The 200 exponential here on the daily is also going to be could pose a bit of an issue. Being below here will suggest that this is now a resistance zone. So there's a lot of problems above us. But again, if we're looking to try and crush this market, we do have to take the opportunities where they feel uncomfortable. And sometimes these buying opportunities become more uncomfortable still. I could imagine this breaking down below here, wicking below here, but actually coming straight back up and closing above here. It's all about the candle body closes for me, and the wicks. Even though this wick was bang on the money, just as the ones were yesterday and the day before on the 200 exponential, we can come down lower. Depends on where we close. If we do close above here and we stay above here, then this could end up being our base, our reaccumulation base. But for the moment, it's very early days. This is only a few hours in the making so far. It's still early days, but it's still an opportunity for me. You guys decide what it is that you want to do. I mean, there is plenty of downsides still possible with this, but the lower we go, the more uncomfortable it feels. Is usually an opportunity. But again, I'm no financial advisor. You do what you feel is most appropriate for you. And this is why we mapped out these levels in the first place. They weren't just for fun, they were essentially opportunities to buy back. Anyway, I hope you have a nice day, if you can, and take it easy.